Hello and welcome. This is the first session regarding replays between the Empire Coast and the Dwarves, not necessarily fighting each other, just looking at replays of both the factions, seeing how they perform, looking at units in detail. And first up we have a matchup between the two factions themselves, Coast and Dwarves. Coast being played by Lycus, one of our mentors, and the Dwarves being played Potato Sauce. I believe this is from a tournament we did a while back, so we should see some pretty good level plays here. If we take a look at the armies, both sides going pretty wide with their armies, especially the Dwarves. You can see here they've got a front line here of Dwarf Warriors, just a ton of them, a full 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Dwarf Warrior units. In the back line, just Quarrelers. Of course, the Archers perform really well against Vampire Coast. Backline defense of Dragonback Slayers, Slayers, as well as just a unit of Longbeards to hold in the backline there as well. A couple Bugman's Rangers on the side here. Bugman's will, of course, because they have the improved melee stats and the regeneration, they'll perform quite well. They'll definitely beat Wolves in combat if they get snuck up on. And, of course, they're another Archer unit, which perform really well against Vampire Coast. The Leadership kit is the Master Engineer, who's coming with his Ring ability, which is a Breath ability. Of course, that would be very good against Sirens because of the magic damage that it does. Also coming with Grombrindle, again, also comes with magical damage, so can do well against those sort of things, and also with the armor piercing, which means he'll probably be in charge of getting rid of any of the crabs. Looking at the Vampire Coast army, we can see quite a spread out formation. Back here we have the Queen Bess guarded by a unit of Sirens, kept really far in the back line here because the trees here would provide cover against any cannons that were put up here. So this basically prevents the Queen Bess from being sniped out, so it's in a very good position back here. With how far away it is, I can see it getting its full use out of it. Not to mention that Lycus has also brought a gunnery wipe, which is important because he has the ammo refill ability, because the Queen Bess can run out of ammo quite quickly, so it's important to be able to keep them stocked up on ammo. In the corners over here, we got some Mongols on the flanks. Also in the way back corner over here, got some Hounds. Probably just there to try and ambush some artillery. Another unit of Hounds in the back corner over there. A front line consisting of Depth Guard and Deckhand mobs with a Vampire Caster and Araness Assault Spite. Aranessa, despite being an anti-large lord, does come with armor piercing as well as a fairly decent melee defense buff and a net, most importantly, which is probably what's going to get the full usage, because you can net down a unit that's clumped up and then a single Queen Bess round will probably take it out, which for Dwarves is definitely worth the cost. Also has some Fellbats flying around the place, probably just a good disruption tool, not much else out of them. And yeah, he's also made sure to place his entire army in the trees here to minimise the effect of the archers that will be firing down on his infantry, most certainly, because none of them have shields. We'll get playing then, see how this goes along. Of course, the Dwarves being forced to advance here because they have Queen Bess in the back. Firing off. Here it comes. Now, Queen Bess does fire quite slowly, so you can see here he's moving his units a little bit out of the way because you can avoid it sometimes, especially you can see it right there being avoided. But if you can notice it firing and then just change your movement patterns, so like they were standing still when it fired, so it's probably going to hit this identical point. So if he moves to these guys faster, they're probably going to get out of the way. Yep, just in time. Oh, they did get a bit of damage, but if you pay attention to when the Queen Bess is firing, you can change your movement patterns. You don't even need to know what it's firing at. You can just change your movement patterns to make sure it misses, because that projectile just takes so long to move. But this one looks like it's going to be a good hit coming down. Yep, ooh, right into those Longbeards. Really good damage on those Longbeards. I can see Queen Bess definitely getting a value out this game. Front line moving up. Here we do have a unit of Deckhand mob with polearms, which might seem like a weird choice, but it does come with more melee defense and also armor piercing, so not necessarily an awful choice, but probably just had some money left over, so switched out the variants. Sirens pressing on the flanks. These unit of bats getting shredded. Hounds getting caught out by Slayers in a minute. The Hounds just trying to get into those Quarrelers to try and disrupt them as much as possible. Some really good Queen Bess rounds, really knocking out some of those Quarreler units. Also Depth Guard. Because the Dwarves have gone wide instead of sort of tall with Longbeards, Depth Guard will probably chew through them Dwarf Warriors quite easily, despite them not having an armor piercing value. These Mongols as well do have an armor piercing value, but if they get caught up with the Dragonback Slayers, they're probably not going to do very well, so he's going to want to pull them out now, as you can see he's doing. Hound unit running back, just trying to apply pressure to the back line so that he has to focus micro back there. Another Queen Bess round, basically knocking out like 2 full units of Quarrelers. A Deckhand mob summon, just really there to tie up this unit of Longbeards and maybe flank into that unit of Dwarf Warriors. Depth Guard again, as you can see, just chewing through Dwarf Warriors really easily, although Grombrindle is going for the caster here. If you can knock out the caster early, that can be a real a real harm to the situation. Master Engineer not got a lot to shoot at, unfortunately, so he's just sort of just running around the place. So if he gets a good breath, yep, there it goes. Fairly okay damage, although it went through his own unit a bit too much. If he had angled that a little better, would have worked a lot well. Firing again, Queen Bess knocking out that unit. Probably wants to change his target now instead of firing on this one, because this one's like completely out of health. Would be much better off firing at this clump of units here. The right flank, with the assist of the Bugman's Rangers, not looking great for the Vampire Coast. All they're down to is this, they have to move the Mongols over from the left flank to support here. Aranessa getting a bit caught out by some Dwarf Warriors there, but these Depth Guard, if they Depth Guard catch the Bugman's Rangers, they'll chew through them really nicely. Scurvy Dogs getting caught by Slayers, not a good situation for them. Queen Bess now firing on a healthier unit of Brawlers, although it is going to move just in time by the looks of things. Vampire Caster going for the... oh no, he didn't just move in time. Good hit. Vampire Caster going for the Master Engineer. Although actually he's going to be summoning a unit of zombies to disrupt the Master Engineer. But yeah, probably won't win that fight in melee. Depth Guard just chasing off Bugmans because they'll probably catch him eventually. I mean, if we look at the speed differences, we've got 36 speed against 33, so yeah, the Depth Guard will catch them eventually, and then they'll win in melee. These Mongols are going to get completely destroyed by Slayers if they don't get out of there soon, but they're getting a bit surrounded on all sides, so it's not looking great for them unless they can pull through. Aranessa trying to net down the Slayers so the Mongols can get out, but they hit the four in the back are trying to run through them, so it's not looking great for them. A really nice clumped up unit of Dwarf Warriors there, or is it Longbeard? Oh, it's Longbeard, so yeah, if you can get a good round onto those, the fact that they're even marching in column formation, it could prove really damaging. Over here, Master Engineer getting disrupted, Syrenes just... the terror causing does of course affect these units because Dwarf Warriors and Crawlers are not immune to terror. Another reason why you might want to bring Longbeards in this situation instead. So the Syrenes are having a pretty good time just clearing up all the Crawlers in the back line. A really nice clump of Longbeards. Let's see if we can get a good round off on them. Ooh. Ooh. A little bit, but not an amazing hit, but every little damage against that unit of Longbeards will help because he didn't really have anything to kill them. Aranessa getting a bit surrounded by Slayers here. Aranessa doesn't have very much armor at all, only 20, so she's probably not going to last very long in that mess, even though she's not large. Mongols still going, chasing after Bugmans, but they have Slayers on them as well, so not looking great for the Mongols. A thin unit of Crawlers being guarded by a full unit of Slayers back here. There's some Syrenes there trying to mop them up. Grombrindle is still moving around. There isn't an awful lot that could kill him, so we'll see how we take out that. We're trying to move up Gunnery White to maybe get some shots off on either the Master Engineer or him. Master Engineer is close to routing, so if we can get him routed off, he'll probably be able to chase him the whole way to the edge of the map. Ooh, a pretty good Queen Bess routing. He didn't hit any of his own units. Probably going to send those routing as well. Although another one coming down. This could be a risk as well because with it travelling... oh no, it looks like it's going to hit just fine. See how that hits? Oh no, that was a lot of Depth Guards before he hit there. Probably would have been better switching to a different target, like these Longbeards over here would be a really good target for that. Depth Guard getting stuck in, and Depth Guard are like a hard counter to Slayers, so they should probably just stay in melee while they can. Mongols, not much left, but they probably will do fairly okay against what's left of the Bugmans and the Dwarf Warriors here. Oh, that was a very good Queen Bess round there. Even if it's damaging your Depth Guard a bit, you have to think about the losses that the Dwarves are taking here as well. Things this is Dwarf Warriors and Slayers. So that one was way off. Again, that change in movement can really throw off the Queen Bess's aim. Grombrindle, probably want to try and get that back. I don't know how much magic he has left at this point, but he probably doesn't want to throw away his caster like that against Grombrindle because Grombrindle is a beast in melee. He might lose his caster here because of that. Yeah, he took a very big hit there. Syrenes are coming back there, but don't want to get the Syrenes stuck into Grombrindle because of the magic damage. Netted down those Slayers to prevent them from moving whilst he's firing at this Dwarf Warriors that's left. Probably wants to fire into those Slayers because that's the biggest clump of infantry that's left worth taking out. Queen Bess has run out of ammo, so the Gunnery White is running back to stock it up again, you can see. Gunnery White probably also wants to get back here and deal with Grombrindle because he doesn't have a shield, so he's about the only thing left that can kill Grombrindle is the Gunnery White whittling him down. A lot of Slayers left though, and even though Slayers are anti-large, they're still really good in melee, with 38 melee attack and 32 melee defense. Not to mention the fact they have 57 weapon strength and they're unbreakable. Means they perform really well, even against not large targets. So yeah, Queen Bess's ammo has been stocked up by the Gunnery White here. You can see he's been stocked up. And now the Gunnery White's just looking for a target to shoot at. Probably going to try and finish that Master Engineer, but does want to start whittling down Grombrindle before he finishes everything else off in the army. Especially if Grombrindle gets a hold of Aranessa, because Aranessa does have a physical resistance as well, so she will take extra damage from Grombrindle. This is basically what you want to be firing at with the Queen Bess that's left, this clump of infantry. Yeah, you can see he's switching his fire to shoot at it now. Yes, you should never pick... It should be noted that this is a really tough matchup for Coast against Dwarves. Because of just reasons like this, the fact that Corridors perform so well against them, the fact that just generally they're really hard to deal with. Vampire Coast don't have the AP necessary to deal with some of the units. So, well played to Lycus for going this far. The only thing well, I'll talk about the builds after, but you can see just how the dwarf mass that's still left. If one good Queen Bess shot or two could really swing this in his favour, but with that distance and the fact, yeah, he's right out of the range, so he's probably not going to be able to get any good shots in now. Depth Guard have a fair amount of armour, but they have no shield, so they'll make good targets for the Crawler Fire. Master Engineer has rallied back here, but it's only going to take like one hit for him to be gone. So they've got 212 health and 1 leadership left. Gunnery White going back here again to stock up Queen Bess's ammo. You can see just how quickly Queen Bess uses its ammo up. Over here it's down to just like the mass of Slayers and a unit of Bugmans along with Grombrindle. Aranessa can keep running away because she has the speed for it. We'll fasten this up a bit. Just going to be them chasing whatever they can do at this point. Bringing some Death Guard back to maybe help. Those Bugmans do have a fair amount of ammo left. Also Aranessa has been smoke bombed, but in return Grombrindle was netted to make sure that she didn't get caught. An okay round, I think that just barely missed that Queen Bess one, but this Queen Bess shot might just finish that entire Bugman's unit off if it doesn't move in time. Yep, there goes. There goes all that ammo as well they would have had to be able to use. So that was a very good Queen Bess shot. If they can just get one of those into the Slayers, could do really well. Just mention that the Depth Guard will perform really well against Slayers as well, because obviously Slayers don't have armor testing. Yeah, it is just down to the Slayers and Grombrindle against what's left. The Gunnery White being in the forest here isn't the best situation for him. He wants to get like out in the open so he can get some good shots on Grombrindle. Queen Bess lining up some shots into those Slayers, but all it takes is for him to move as soon as he starts firing. So as long as if he moves now, because it's hard to miss when Queen Bess is firing, it's very loud. So you could usually just play off that, the perfect dead center hit. That could really help Lycus if he can just whittle him down with Grombrindle. Then he might be able to turn this around. It's going to take the Gunnery White getting a lot of damage off on Grombrindle for it to turn here. Not to mention that Queen Bess is now exposed here from the Dwarf Warriors, but he hasn't really got that much else to fire at, to be honest. So it's alright if he loses it at this point. He's definitely got the value out of it. We'll have a look at the values at the end, but you can definitely see Queen Bess getting the value out. At this point he probably just wants to... I know he's trying to whittle him down with the Gunnery White. Trying to whittle down Grombrindle because that's all he can do to Grombrindle at this point. Because the Depth Guard can take out the Slayers, as long as the Gunnery White whittles down Grombrindle, they might be able to take out Grombrindle as well, but it's a tough situation. Speeding up a little bit more. Oh, actually, no, there you go. Aranessa getting caught by the smoke bomb. She got too close to Grombrindle. You always got to remember that Grombrindle does have that smoke bomb, so don't think you can just skirmish around him when you've got this much of a speed difference. Could lose Aranessa here because of that, which would affect the leadership a lot in the end. Which, at the end of the day, it's going to be leadership that affects this sort of final fight. Queen Bess may be winning because considering that they are undead, so they do cause fear, they might be able to out off the Dwarf Warriors. But it's unlikely they'll actually win in melee, but it's close. Who knows? We'll check back in there. Gunnery White is still left. If the Gunnery White can just whittle down Grombrindle, he probably wants to get these Depth Guard back to defend him now because he won't be able to outrun Slayers probably. 38 speed against the 40 of the 40 of Slayers. He won't be able to outrun them, so he really needs to get the Depth Guard in between him and the Gunnery White. Looking back over here, the leadership's looking really close. And maybe if this could go from Queen Bess's through victory, then maybe he could get the Gunnery White back and maybe we'll get to fire off 1 or 2 more shots from Queen Bess, but at the rate it's going right now, it doesn't look like the Dwarf Warriors are going to arrive. Which again, just showing like, oh no, there they go, they're shattering now. But they are crumbling slowly. If he can get his Gunnery White back, he could maybe restock them and then finish off the rest of the Slayers, and then it would be down to literally just Grombrindle versus the rest of it. Oh, and this small amount of Bugmans. They have rallied. He's moving his crew away. Oh, in fact, he could move his crew towards the Gunnery White, get them restocked on ammo, and then come back to the Queen Bess. That'll just fire. Depth Guard catching the Bugmans here. That'll basically finish them off. They're not going to win. I mean, the Bugmans not going to win in this situation. Yeah, there they go. So yeah, getting really down to the wire here, but it's going to be really hard to take out Grombrindle at this point. just whittling him down with gunnery white fire. At this point, what the dwarf player should do is just basically just send everything after the gunnery white. That's his only threat at this point, but now the Slayers have engaged the depth guard. On their own, the Slayers might actually lose this, but I think that Grumbindles here probably means it's going to go in their favour. Especially considering how low on leadership, how exhausted they are. The depth guard just probably won't perform too well because of that. Yeah, there we go. Crumbling, and that might lead to army losses as well, since it's down to just the gunnery white. And the gunnery white has just not got enough damage off from Grumbindle by this point. He spent too long in the back line in the early game, focused on rethinking ammo. But yeah, GG. Looking at some of the values back here, let's have a look-see. As soon as it loads through, there you go. So yeah, Aranessa, I don't think, talking about build, I don't think Aranessa probably the best choice in this situation. You could have taken maybe Solostra with just no spells, or even Luther on foot might have proved better, because then you could stock up his ammo with the gunnery white as well instead of just Queen Bess. But yeah, Queen Bess there getting a full nearly 3,000 damage, definitely getting the worth from Queen Bess. Depth Guard as well. I think Depth Guard are a pretty good unit in this matchup. It's one of the matchups they actually shine in, because you can't rely on gunpowder against all of these Quarreler units. Because this is generally what you want to do as dwarves against Coast. Just, well, any factions, just spam out archers. Because archers just count out nearly everything in the Vampire Coast roster. Gunnery White did okay. I think he didn't shoot enough. If he had started shooting earlier, probably would have done better. He could have gone back and forth between the cannon instead of just sticking near it. Of course, these are just disruption tools, so they're not going to get a lot of value. Grumbindle took out the caster, and he also took out most of Aranessa's health as well, so he got some pretty good value, but didn't hit the highest of targets. Dwarf Warriors. That Dwarf Warrior, oh yeah, this was the one that must have been after the crew of the Queen Bess, so they got a fair amount of value because of that, but nothing else really got any value because they're just fighting zombies at the end of the day. The Slayers did okay. The Quarrelers, most of them all just got destroyed by the Queen Bess rounds, but the Bugmans did a lot better because of their stalk and the fact they were the furthest away from Queen Bess. Yeah, good replay. GG to both players. What else have we got here? We got a Dwarfs versus Empire game. Let's take a look at that one. Just going to get a drink. Back in a moment. I'm back. Yes, using Vampire Coast against Dwarves, very bold. A very bold move. Did not pay off in the end. It was a very close match. You banned Emp. Empire is also a hard counter for Vampire Coast. Not meta. Didn't want to have fun. Pick Coast. Yeah, so here we have a Empire versus Dwarfs game. Typically a Dwarf favoured matchup. Over on the flank here, we've got two Outriders with grenade launchers for the Empire. Pretty good unit in terms of anti-infantry, though they don't have the AP values they probably need against Dwarves. As for the main core of the Empire army, front line of swordsmen with Sigmar Sons and great swords at the back. Really need great swords in this matchup to dispatch Longbeards. Handgunners in the back line in case he brings gyrocopters, which he has over there, so a good choice by him. Boris Toadbringer on foot along with Felix. Bit of a strange combination because obviously Felix already gives the regen, and Boris has regen as well, so eventually you're just going to hit Boris's healing cap a bit too quickly. A light wizard in the back, coming with unbreakableness, Shem's Burning Gaze, as well as an AoE buff to melee attack and speed, and some cannons off on the side on their own over here, so let's see how that goes. Probably wants to keep them closer to his infantry. As for the dwarf side, he's gone with a Slayer rush. Very heavy Slayer build. Giant Slayers, Dragonback Slayers, regular Slayers, another regular Slayers, and another Giant Slayers. As well as a bit of a Gyrocopter rush as well. So Gyrocopters, Brimstone Guns, 2 of them, and the Skyhammer Gyrocopter. As well as Rangers and Bugman's Rangers in the front to just be a bit of skirmishing power. And a Ungrim as the leadership tool. Slayers don't perform that well against Empire because they actually have the archers necessary to deal with them, and they don't actually perform too well against the constant cycle charging of Empire Knights. Gyrocopters as well can get shot down by handgunners and cannons quite easily. And the front line of Bugmans, I'd say Rangers and Bugmans are a pretty good choice against Empire because they outperform all the other archer units that Empire can offer. Also Ungrim, his situation is that he's a very high damage output lord, but the problem is I've mentioned this on the army building video, is that he just doesn't have the speed, and whereas Grombrindle has a smoke bomb to catch up to things, Ungrim doesn't have the speed to catch like anything. He's only got 32 speed, he's probably not going to be able to catch most of the things he wants to be fighting, so if he gets into a fight with Boris and Boris starts losing, Boris can just run away, and there's nothing that's stopping Boris from escaping because Ungrim is very slow. But yeah, we'll see how this plays out. Firing into the unarmoured, unshielded handgunners, probably the best choice there for the Rangers. Want to get rid of those so that these gyrocopters and gyrobombers can run free. These cannons being on their own without any support, these Bugmans are going to get some really nice volleys off. You can see that the Bugmans can knock out the cannons on their own, really, with just the volume of fire. He's focusing his handgunners and his cannons to try to take out the gyrocopters at this point. Although the Skyhammer probably should be his first target to take that down, it's very expensive. Gyrobombers will do very well against Slayers because of course they have no armour, so the grenade launchers will perform really well here. Not to mention that they can't get caught by like anything in the dwarf roster. In the front line though, when it comes to this sort of situation, swordsmen will just lose to Slayers most of the time, but on this side, great swords, the fact that they have 95 armour means they're going to do really well against Slayers. They're also anti-infantry as well, great swords, so again, they're really hard to handle. Some bombs being dropped by the Skyhammer, but it's gone really low in health now just from being shot by handgunners. It's got to the point where he's had to get his gyrocopters into melee in order to disrupt them. These Slayers missing a trick. Probably want to go for that cannon now. Yeah, there they go. Yeah, here we can see a melee on Ungrim knocking out Felix really quickly. Probably could have got Felix out a lot quicker there because he's so much faster than Ungrim. Could have done a lot there just throwing him into some random dwarf infantry like some Slayers or something. That was a poor loss there. That Shen's gun engaged was fired off into the distance. Some good grenade launcher fire going onto these. You can notice that their models are basically all still alive, but they have really low health, so they'll die practically as soon as they reach any combat. Depends what happens from explosion damage. Unbreakableness being applied to these handgunners so they can just keep firing on the Skyhammer. They're being forced into melee because of that. Light Wizard taking out the gyrocopters with a swing of its stick. Boris fighting Ungrim, not a great choice for Boris again. He could probably just run away, especially now the great swords are getting into combat. He could just pull him out because he's going to outrun Ungrim. Sigmar Sons will be able to chase off the Rangers just fine. The Bugman's Rangers might win against regular swordsmen, so he's just there to disrupt them at this point. Yeah, great swords will have a field day with this. You've got infantry against this anti-infantry armor piercingness. It's a very good situation for the great swords, so he probably wants to try and pull Boris out at this point. Not worth trying to get him sacrificed to Ungrim. Because Ungrim does hit very hard, although he doesn't have the melee defense that most dwarf units have, which is downfall in most regards, especially when he pops his ability. Pretty much the same situation all over the place. You can see here, just great swords perform really well against Slayers because they're anti-infantry and they're armoured. Slayers do not like that matchup on the Slayers, which is probably why you don't want to bring Slayers so much in this matchup, because the Empire players pretty much guaranteed to bring great swords. This is like the matchup to bring great swords in, and the Slayers perform really poorly against them. If you're worried about knights and such, probably Longbeards with great weapons can perform just as well. Also, Longbeards with great weapons do a lot more damage against pretty much all the Empire infantry, including great swords. So instead of Slayers, just bring Longbeards with great weapons will do probably just fine. We'll avoid like cavalry and such, because they get the charge bonus against charge defense against lance, so they'll hold lines just fine. Yeah, I'm going to get surrounded here by all this damage, and the fact that Boris is still fighting as well. very tough situation. Well, this, Giant Slayers getting into the match might help since they have the armor piercing and they actually do some damage to the greatswords. Light Wizard still firing off there, just sitting in the back line, just providing that leadership buff and everything. Hand grenades firing into what's left of Gyrocopters. Yeah, how low the health are with the Gyrocopters, just a few rounds will take them out. So they're getting forced again into melee, but Gyrocopters are not meant for melee, so they could probably still lose this engagement, even with the health differences. Boris running away, of course he has his regen, so he'll probably be back, although if he gets chased after the Giant Slayers, he'll probably not return. Big Swords getting the unbreakableness so that they stay and fight against the Slayers, get every little bit of their value out of them. Light Wizard knocking out a Gyrocopter for it to take off, just whacking it over the head. Running away with Boris here, chasing him down with the Giant Slayers, but it just means the Giant Slayers are going to be able to get shot in the back by these handkillers. So Pro wants to turn them around at some point. He does have the Buglins here that he could chase them off or fire into with him. Not to mention that over here, the Outriders with grenade launchers are still going strong. And then also Sigmar Sun's unit. These will completely destroy what's left of that Giant Slayer unit, so it's not looking great in the Dwarf favour. Unless he can get some good volleys off with the Buglins, it's not going to go great for the Dwarfs here. Yes, it does feel a bit, why bring Slayers when you have armoured great weapons? In this matchup it's probably just better to bring the armoured great weapons. So yeah, no, you can see just then, grenade launcher fire just doing massive damage against the Giant Slayers. Not to mention there's still great swords left as well to tear through them, although Boris will be going down soon by the looks of things. He's been chased that whole time. Appears that Ungrim did also go down now, I believe, to the great swords. He went down to that. So with Ungrim, then again, not that it affects leadership too much, besides using Rangers back here. Giant Slayers, oh yeah, there you go. There's a huge volley of grenade launchers just finishing that entire unit off almost. Doesn't really leave that much left for the Dwarves, unfortunately. And I think that is when army losses hit. Yeah, army losses hit, and these Giant Slayers aren't going to win against the rest of the Empire army. Fast forward this look. Yeah. Boom. So yeah, looking at the armies here, Empire army. Probably, I don't know, I think the law of magic that you tend to bring against dwarves, don't think there's too much you can really do. Maybe shadows, because pendulums and pits of shades can do well. In this situation, the grenade launchers did really well because he had all these slayers to fire on, but I don't think normally they'd perform that well. You definitely do need the handgunners to try and shoot down gyrocopters. Empire cannons usually lose to dwarf cannons, but in this situation there was no dwarf cannons for him to have to deal with, so he did all right here. Great swords, of course, are a must against dwarves, and swordsmen are basically the front line you need. Felix got caught off guard really quickly, and Boris didn't have the armor piercing to do that much damage. For the dwarf army, dwarves can really play this matchup defensively. They don't need to rush forward with this, because all the dwarf defensiveness. The cannons outmatch Empire cannons. Quarrelers outmatch pretty much any ranged unit from the Empire. And Longbeards will beat everything besides great weapons. You can bring Longbeards with great weapons just to match that, and also Quarrelers can deal with great weapons as well because they have no shield. Gyrocopters don't perform very well because typically you need to bring the handgunners as Empire. And Ungrim is just a worse Grom bundle, although they did get some good value here only because Boris and Felix stayed in combat for so long. But yeah, good value on that one because that was the one that caught out the cannons. But yeah, GG's. Boom. Right then, we should have a Vampire Coast. There we go. Vampire Coast versus. Oh, actually, is there one through here? Let's have a look. Actually, I think I have. Do I have one of mine? No, I don't. I think no, I didn't make one, did I? What was this one? There you go, Vampire Coast versus Beastman. Do this one. Ooh, interesting. Some very wide armies, large armies, nearly full stacks either side. We have Logic leading the Vampire Coast against Necroic leading the Beastmen. On Galbaraz, let's see how this goes. Boom. Alright, we're in. Oh, awkward formation there with the Vampire Coast. Looking at the Beastmen army first, you got a front line of Goreherds with shields. Goreherds will of course chew through all that chaff really quickly, and also the shields are good against any ranged units apart from bombers. Hounds on the sides and the flanks just to get into those back lines, although I think they will lose to Scurvy Dogs because they're not undead, so they'll run. Razor Gore herds will chew through front lines again really quickly, and also pretty good against crabs. Gorbals are also very good against crabs, along with the Butchers of Kalkangar and Minotaurs. Both have silver shields, which make them surprisingly resilient against missiles. Considering it's a rather small shield to be considered a silver shield, but it is for some reason. Ungar archers, again the strategy of archers just work really well against Vampire Coast, so always want a bit of archer fire. Malagor instead of Morgr. Typically you just see Morgr like all the time. I mean, maybe we'll see that change soon with the Beastman update coming out soon, but Malagor doesn't. He is this caster, so it does save you money in other areas, so it means you only need to bring the one sort of caster center instead of having a general and then also a caster. So it does save you a bit of money. But typically Morgr with the Chaos Spawn summons. Again, Chaos Spawn do perform very well against the lightly armoured Vampire Coast, so that could have been just as good, but Malagor could work here as well. And of course in the back line as well, a couple Goreherds as well, just in case he sends hounds to take out these Ungar archers. They're there to defend, and they can also reinforce the front line if needs be. Looking at the Vampire Coast, it's got a front line of gunnery mob. Again, those shields are going to come in handy now, but typically I imagine he was expecting to deal with more Chaos Spawn or unshielded units with the gunnery mob, so he's putting those in the front to sort of get the first volleys off. Middle line of sort of a mixed line of Syrenes and zombie deckhands with polearms. Again, probably expecting like Minotaurs would do pretty well against also the terror causing the Syrenes, not to mention the lack of magic damage that the Beastmen have means that Syrenes do perform very well in this matchup. You can typically even just go a front line of Syrenes in this matchup because they don't have magic damage. Beastmen really don't have anything available to them. Of course he has Malagor here, but if he brings basically Viletide is the only reliable way to take out Syrenes for the Beastmen. Here he's going to get outmatched here because he's got 3 hounds against the 2, and not to mention the undead, so they're not going to run, so that's going to be a victory there for the Vampire Coast. In the back line here, crabs, the Lamprey's Revenge and Rotting Promethean's gunnery mobs, so that's 2 of the gunnery mobs with the guys in the backs with hand cannons, as well as a Vampire Fleet Admiral with Vampire, making him armor piercing. So armored crabs can definitely catch things off guard, but he has the Razordons and the Minotaurs to deal with them here in this matchup. And also a single polearm unit in the back line. That's it. So it begins. Of course, armies just both moving up because there's no artillery advantage here. I don't think Malagor brought his Cygor summon. Oh no, he did bring his. No, did he? Is that the Cygor summon? No, it isn't. No Cygor summon. It's typically where you bring Law of Beasts, or Law of Wilds even, for that Cygor summon. But here you can see that the Chaos Warhounds will just rout instantly because the Scurvy Dogs causing fear. So a pretty easy matchup for them. Whether or not the Razordons will lose quite as hard, I'm not sure. They do have a good 45 armor, but no, then again, I think just the fear will be enough from the undead. In fact, the undead don't rout, and the fact they cause fear will just be enough to rout off that really poorly leadership unit. Popping Devolve here, trying to deal some damage to the Syrenes, but again, it's not very good. Once like Viletide is basically the only thing he has to take out Syrenes. Devolve just doesn't barely do any damage at that point. Throwing the Razor Gore in, probably wants to try and get those into the crowds. That's the perfect situation for them. But he has got the Ungors and the Minotaurs moving up, as well as the Gorbal. Firing his archers into those gunnery mobs, because of course they're unshielded, unarmored, so they're the best target. But yeah, he can see just that a Scurvy Dog unit beats Razor Gore herd in a one-on-one fight. And that just shows the power of undead. The fact that they don't rout and they can rout off the enemy so easily. It really does help. Yeah, he popped in Viletide and these really cheap gunnery mobs. These are only 300 gold. And they are firing into the sides of his units, which is great. He probably wants to try and push past that unit, push them into here, but that Brave Scheme does a little bit of damage, but a Viletide there probably could have wiped out that entire Sirene unit. Siren's going after the Blackthorn Ravagers. Of course, nothing really here is immune to psychology on the Beastman side, so the Sirens will perform really well, just terrorizing everything else. His Lord is anti-Lancer, who's getting stuck there to the Minotaurs, along with the Rotting Promethean, the Lamprey's Revenge. They have regeneration, they probably win against the Minotaurs here. On this side, Butchers of Kalkangar getting stuck in against Sirens. Probably not exactly where they want to be, want to go against the gun species if they can. But the fact that he has all these gunnery mobs, just the volume of fire from the gunnery mobs in the back is performing really well. These are really cheap units and they perform such a good volume of fire, especially against the lightly armored beastmen. Like, even though the Minotaurs have silver shields, because of the fact they're single entities, they'll often like be facing the wrong direction, so you can just get shot in the back really easily. Cyrene's getting a bit outmatched here just from weight of fire, not so much any magic damage. He's catching one of these Ungor units out because he moved away his backline support and he happened to win the hound fight. Means that he's going to be able to catch out all these units. Scurvy Dogs, those might rout before they finish off killing the Ungors, but the Gorbul would probably be best off trying to get into the melee fight here. He doesn't have time to waste fighting the Scurvy Dogs. Because yeah, a lot of the Beastman stuff is just breaking. The left flank especially, just nearly everything here is broken. On the right flank it's going a lot better for the Beastmen, but the left side is suffered a lot of leadership problems. I might turn down a little bit. Hang on a second. Okay. Adjusting volumes. Boom. This should be better. Is this better? Yeah, the ping must be really... Okay, let me just adjust volumes real quick. There you go. That's much better. Okay. I messed around. It's hard to tell with the volumes at because if I turn on the stream, I'm going to get a lot of reverb. Thank you, Psycho Sanchez, for pinging me on that. I probably wouldn't have checked the chat until after this battle, so thank you for that. Butchers, 9 of them left, down to the last 9, getting surrounded by polearm units. Gorbul in the back, probably wants to go after these crab units as quickly as possible because that's like the ideal target. He is an anti-large armor-piercing unit. Sirens, yeah, again, a lot of the Beastman stuff is just run already. It might come back, but so much of it is run that it's not looking great for the Beastmen at this point. Malagor also getting caught out here, surrounded by hounds and by the Vampire Fleet Admiral. He's just probably going to get destroyed. Yeah, the Sirens do really well against Beastmen. Whenever fighting against Vampire Coast, you need to prepare just exclusively for Sirens because Beastmen don't have the magical damage to deal with the field units really. Like the only magical damage dealing unit they have is the Sons of Goros. Hopefully that will all change with the Beastman update. We'll get some more magic damage. Maybe Taurox will do magical damage with an Iron or something. So hopefully Beastmen won't be in such a dire strait against magical damage because they really are these days. But yeah, army loss is hitting. That's the end of them. Boom. Cool. GG's. Apologies for the audio settings. I was messing around with them. I could have sworn I got them right, but I need to change them sometimes. I end up messing around with them too much, and then I completely undo whatever I was trying to do. Looking at the values, again, the Sirens don't really. Mostly undead don't actually get their value so much from the damage they do as much as the fear they cause and the leadership they have. So it's just Coast have the advantage here in that situation. Hounds did pretty well because they won the Hound fight really easily. Did good against the Razorgors and the other Hound units. Lamprey's Revenge did really well. Considering they're up against the Minotaurs, I think Lamprey's Revenge actually win that most of the time. Even against the Butchers they might win. Just because they have such the good defensive stats. Yeah, not an awful lot of value from the Beastman side. Again, you're using full Gore Herds to try and take out the Deckhands mob, but it's not a good price cost. These are about 600 gold, these are about 400. So you end up just losing out on a lot of money. Not to mention that the Deckhands mobs all got to fire basically freely for the whole time. Considering they're only 300 gold, it was a really good payoff for them. Ungors got chased off by Hounds. The Hounds lost the Hound fight. Razorgors lost the Hound fight. And the Minotaurs lost the engagement just overall, so it didn't go great for Beastmen at that time. Just showing the power of the undead causing this, just the fear they cause, the unbreakableness they have. Generally, the only thing I'd really change about this build is maybe not bring the Vampire Fleet Admiral. You could just bring Noctilus and win, basically. That's the only thing, really. I think this is nearly a perfect counter Beastman build for Vampire Coast, so well played by Logic there. Yep, another good replay. What other ones have we got here? Let's have a look. See. Who's that?
How much did you insult me with the game?
Oh, is the potato sauce one? No, I think you did good. I mean, you picked it against Vampire Coast. You picked Dwarves against Vampire Coast. No, picked Vampire Coast against Dwarves.
Coast against Dwarfs.
Coast against Dwarves. What am I saying? I've been talking a lot, as you can tell.
I have to rewatch that and how much you insulted me.
I do have to check. How is your voice? I know you probably don't want to listen to your own voice, but because audio settings, I need to check. How is your voice on this stream?
I need to check. Wait, I'll turn you up and see now. I'm quiet, sis.
Quiet. Too quiet. Okay, if I crank this up to full, speak now, Lycus.
Okay, test. Widow's a cunt. Widow's a cunt.
Okay, you got that for your full volume. Nice. Yeah, that was maximum. I think I'm just gonna have to adjust it so that the in-game volume is lower. Is the game sound
Settings
high?
is good and use is better.
Yeah, because when I adjust the sound coming from my desktop, I also up the volume in game. So how is the music in game? Is that too loud in game? I'll switch back to it occasionally just to see how it is.
I would say it's fine now. I'm listening to over the stream.
Well, I'll keep it a bit low just in case. It doesn't really matter if they can't hear the game too much. We need to hear our beautiful voices. Yeah, your potato sauce game
My
is good.
beautiful voices
No,
and
yours is. Yours apparently just sounds the same as your brother's, so you know, not unique at all.
yeah, that's you're just saying that because you don't have a brother.
Where do you know? I do somewhere hidden. But yeah, it was a good game because potato sauce was a good. It was a real close one. I think you had some probably times you should have fired at different things, but
Yeah, I know.
and also you brought
I just
Aranessa.
don't know how to deal with Grumbrindle in this matchup.
And maybe bring Luther instead of Aranessa. I don't know why you'd bring Aranessa over Luther.
Because of the net,
Does it help?
that's a build from Anticity,
Mm-hmm.
and the net is used to like drop down on Rangers or something. I don't know why he is experienced in this matchup because it's so bad.
It is real bad. Take a look at another one. Dwarves versus the Heralds of Ariel. Sure, why not? Could go wrong. Gotrek, Felix, Belagar. Great. Have a look at this. Lots of tree men. And dryads. Interesting. And also magical. Okay, we'll have a look at this week.
With Shiver Shard, Deep Shield Scouts, non-armor piercing magic.
That's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm looking.
Ooh.
So much wrong. Lots of things to call out. Have a field day like us. Go ahead. I've been talking for the past hour or so.
Okay, so general, I think everybody's aware that Wood Elves are a horrible matchup for Dwarfs. The other way around. Sorry. Yeah.
You mean who loses?
Wood Elves who have lowly armored units. Dwarfs actually kill lowly armored units pretty good. All dwarfs are shielded, so Wood Elves missiles are useless. Dryads do probably horrible against dwarfs.
Yeah, everything but miners, I'd say.
Yeah, I think the with the DLC, you now have the Great Stag Knights, which are probably the most decent cav units that you have because it's armor piercing. That guy didn't bring it. I don't know why. He has the DLC because he has the Ariel units.
Yeah, he's bought Ariel for the faction, so.
So I guess he doesn't have the base game Wood Elves probably. That's why he does the sub-faction. Treeman, horrible pick. Treekin, horrible pick. Swift Shards, we already said that's a horrible pick.
Yeah, Treekin don't have armor piercing, so terrible.
Yeah,
Treemen are really good
don't
targets.
kill anything. Like
Yeah,
Treekin
no.
are only good if you want to like hold your ground.
Yeah, they'll hold the ground pretty nicely. The best about it.
Yeah. So I also Ancient Treeman. Willow went over this last time. Absolutely horrible. The normal Treeman, yeah, the normal
Treeman's terrible.
horrible. Ancient
Lord's not great,
Treeman,
but you know,
also not good.
terrible. Not awful. He's just not good.
Okay, yeah, I guess look over the Dwarf Army now.
Yeah, there's not an awful lot to look at really over here, is it? Just a lot of not great choice. He has a Glade Captain as well on a Stag, which considering she's anti-large against Dwarves, not the greatest choice. Glade Riders will basically act as a Hound unit, but you probably want those further in the back line. A very defensive, really close to the wall here with Dwarves. 2 Organ Guns, Gotrek, Felix, Belagar. Of course, Belagar having a shield means it's going to last longer. Gotrek not so much. Felix not so much either. Dwarf Warriors, 2 Quarrelers in the back. Just a sort of boxy formation with Dwarf Warriors and a Longbeard in the back. Very tight formation, 2 Longbeards. Longbeards might get sniped by Waywatcher Fire if they're not careful. He also has 2 Gyrocopters back here. Gyrocopters is not what you bring in this matchup, because Wood Elves have good missiles. You do not want to really bring Gyrocopters in my opinion. In this matchup too much. Although, do the Brimstone Guns do fire damage? Yeah, they do. There's that. So maybe if you can micro them enough, you could get your worth out of them, but you have to be really on the ball and watch out for Waywatchers.
I guess they would be decent against the trees, but I didn't suspect trees in this matchup.
No, yeah, I wouldn't
and
expect trees in this
into
matchup.
it.
But yeah,
Anti-large
there
is
they
probably
are.
also nice against Cav, but you need to be careful of missiles, as Willow pointed out.
Mhm.
And Waywatchers will probably shred them.
Yeah.
I think the organ guns are a really nice pick in this map. Normally, if you are going up against Wood Elves, you might see Wave Watcher to snipe artillery.
Yeah.
But
Which
in
is a
this
problem.
matchup, they're gonna be absolutely
Yeah, and this
winners.
with this build, especially since he's not even going for them. Like, they're wide open. He could send a Dryad unit right in and be fine because there's nothing in there. But he's sending them all onto the Dwarf Warriors on the flanks, exactly what Necrotic wants. Even the Treekin going right into the sides, not looking at the middle at all.
I mean, Godric will shred the Treekin.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's his thing. He's anti-large armor piercing and everything. Belagar providing all his buffs to the area, to the Dwarf Warriors, putting their melee defense up to 64. Pretty good. There you go. Good. That is, as a melee defense of 64 against a melee defense of 47. That's just going to go on forever, that fight.
Necrotic having a little slight issue on the side, left his Organ gun unprotected.
Yeah, although he's not going for it at this point. So,
Blade
oh yeah,
Riders,
this one. Oh yeah, the Glade
Ooh,
Riders
holy
and Spears. This one took it out really quickly.
Actually killed the artillery piece.
Yeah, very quickly. Looks of things. I think they just got the charge value and everything. Just sends them running quite quickly. Especially since they got a really good charge off.
Oh.
Yeah, he's left the brimstone guns going, but he doesn't have the armor piercing to deal with them. If he had Wave Watchers, they would have gone a lot quicker, but he doesn't. Like, you can just see how much damage that's going to do. Not that much. Not much at all. Blade Runners did have a good stomp around. Very good use out of those Glade Riders. Good disruption from them. He also got a Dryad unit back here somehow. So, really good disruption.
Yeah, they
in the
left
back
over
line.
the right flank. I mean,
They just went around.
Have the numbers to stop it.
Felix will, of course, just give healing here to the to Belagar, although they're fighting an Ancient Treeman. See how that goes along for them. Longbeard's just advancing. They're armoured. They have, like, full bronze shields. Or it's silver shields. No, it's bronze shields. And so the Deepwood Scouts aren't going to do anything to them, basically. Yeah, he's just firing his organ gun, trying to finish off that Ancient Treeman. Take out that source of magic quickly.
Yeah, he's also using the Brimstone, the Gyrocopters for that, so good targeting from.
Yeah, fire tried out. Although they seem to be really accurate sometimes. Like, just watching their fire, trying to hit this slender treeman can be kind of difficult sometimes. Let's see how that goes.
Yeah, two times. Taking out the magic source of magic for the Dwarfs, and taking out the healing, and taking out the leadership is basically like perfect targeting.
Yeah, it's everything wrapped up in one, which is one of the reasons why the Ancient Treeman ain't great, because he's a big target, he's slow, he is the source of magic, and he is the source of leadership. So he's just being begged to kill. Although the Glade Riders Spears have come back, more disruption into the Quarrelers, trying to just keep his artillery crew. He's done really well with these Glade Riders Spears, all things considered. Considering he just went into the complete sides with everything else. The Glade Riders Spears have done pretty well.
On the left flank, you almost saw how you deal with the Felix that you bring from for Dwarfs. You basically focus him down. He was wavering a second ago, might have broken if there was
Considering
any
the
more
treatment
damage
just caused
coming in.
terror, that he could terror out of Phoenix, because Phoenix is not immune to psychology.
Yeah, as Yus pointed out in chat, normally what you do in this matchup is you take Dryka, because then you can do almost full Vanguard, which you can also do with Orion, but Dryka is better because you have these summons. Or I guess now only one summon. Also hello Psycho. And then you immediately rush the Dwarfs. You can use Dryads for that then actually, but it's like Dryads are awful because magic damage, they don't have the armor. You saw in Zerg's video how they were doing against in the best infantry video or lowly infantry video, how they were doing. So but it's like it's a horrible matchup for Wood Elves. And
yeah, Wood
you
Elves
have
are
to
great.
take whatever you can, and Dryka is just way better than most other lords, I guess, because small target. You take off all the spells, you can just take I guess a branch wave with Pendulum and healing for that then. But she's really, like Dryka's dirt cheap then. 1,000 gold something,
real
and
cheap.
buffs when she gets damaged.
Yeah, and you get a summon as well.
Around her.
Because taking Mr. Big Durthu Tree Man might be really, really funny, but it's also going to be really, really funny when you lose.
You cut down that tree, as they would say.
Yeah. It's like the dwarves are the ultimate force against them. They all have axes.
Exactly, they're planning ahead. Could get collecting some timber.
Yeah, they don't want no trees in their goddamn mountains.
It's going to be a real drawn out fight though, because all that's left is the Treekin and the Treemen, really high leadership and high melee defense units against really high leadership and melee defense units. Taking a little bit of time, but it is a pretty sure victory.
I think the Wood Elves still have money in the field, but I think the Dwarfs have Godric, so he will probably kill
everything. Although Godric is very low in health now, if he doesn't get a regen off.
Godric, holy shit, what happened to him?
I think you just got chased by. I think you got surrounded by Dryads because Dryads are a pretty good counter to him.
Yeah, but still, Felix will heal him probably up to almost full health, and he has
Yes.
his healing proc.
Yeah, Felix. As long as he gets close enough to Felix to get that
Yeah,
healing
he's
proc.
not close enough now, but
Just mention that. Yeah, you do really well against those Treekin. Yeah, the army
That's
losses
a bit-
goes.
Who cares about the infantry?
Cares about smelly infantry. Just shoot, bang.
That's where the peasants go, right? True Bretonian logic.
But yeah, dwarf side, fairly decent all around. I think Longbeards perform better than just dwarf warriors. You could probably switch those out. Belagar's alright. You could take one Brindle because of the magic damage is nice to use against Wood Elves because most of the Wood Elf leadership kit has physical resistance. Gyrocopters happen to perform well here, although typically you're going up against Way Watchers, so they won't always do that well. Organ guns are an alright choice as long as you got that range and they don't get sniped too quickly. But I'd only bring like one probably. Godric got his value because he was fighting trees the whole time. And yeah, the whole Wood Elf army didn't perform too great anyway. Apart from the Blade Riders and Spears, they did good. They did good. That's basically
Like
it.
even if they got like what was it, the Sarai infantry or whatever that all are armor piercing, they actually have a better chance of killing something instead of Dryads.
Yeah, Giants don't have much of a chance. Killing anything.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. We can have a look at Dwarfs versus Skaven. A match me and Necrotic did. This is. I want to see what you think of my Skaven build like this.
No.
yes, I'm gonna yell at you for the next 10 minutes, I guess.
What do you mean? What's wrong with
Okay,
it?
so general, this is an absolutely horrible matchup for dwarves. Like opposing matchup to Skaven versus not Skaven, dwarves versus Coast. Basically the other way around. Dwarves have like a really hard time beating this.
Yeah.
Then Willow was playing on MP Crossroads, which makes me think that he
didn't
really
pick
wants
map.
to give me a brain on
I didn't pick the
because
map.
I hate that map.
I didn't fit the map. Necrotic
It's
did.
a horrible map.
Yeah, I agree.
It's what are you guys talking about? It's the most balanced map.
So
Yeah, it's
also look what I got here. This is Ashen Sorcerer.
Yeah, good old Tweak and the Ashen
And
Sorcerer.
Sorcerer, yeah.
No. Here's the important thing, Willow, is that you brought the Ashen Sorcerer with another Sorcerer.
Yeah, Plague Priest, yeah.
brought the teeth breakers for crying out loud. What are you gonna kill with those?
You'll see.
Slowly moving dwarf warriors, gonna turn them down to like 8 speed and then see and point and laugh at them, I guess.
Yeah, basically. But so yeah, looking at the build here, frontline just Skaven Slaves, Clan Rats, and I've also brought the Plague Priest with Clan Rat summons. Basically, my plan is just throw all the Skaven at the enemy lines to throw them down, whilst my Globadiers and Giselles do all the damage.
What spell did you bring on the Ashen Sorcerer?
The one to give them stealth, just in case he had cannons, so that I could hide them.
Skitter Leap?
Yeah, as well as the Veil of Shadows and Black Whirlwind as well.
Okay, yeah.
You're telling me you brought way too much magic because
I
you're
brought
not
one.
gonna
I got
use...
4 spells.
He brought only 4
Yes, you have
spells.
4 spells, but
I-
you have 6
Yeah,
summons,
I
and...
probably should have dropped Black Whirlwind in hindsight.
Yeah.
That's the other one.
Well, Black Whirlwind's actually got good armor piercing.
Yeah, but
and,
it's like I already have the mortars to kill all that stuff. So.
Yeah, that's true. Well, unless you want to use the Black Whirlwind and the mortars.
Oh, all 3 spells and the other
Where,
ones.
where
Well.
they get it's
Yeah, okay.
it's hilarious. Like you suck
He has
them
a
in
bit,
and then
a lot of
instantly die.
Giselles.
Yeah,
You
3 Giselles.
swipe for artillery pieces and characters.
Mhm.
Good. Mortars, good. Teeth breakers. I don't know what Willow was thinking.
I was
Wolfrats,
thinking-
good.
I was thinking both gyrocopters and also they kill, they shoot.
Yes, just use the Giselles.
Giselles break the shield and then you can just gun them down with their teeth breakers.
Yes,
Today,
Giselles
Tweak
basically
is
kill like
the best
every
lord, 'cause he
gyrocopter that
beats
you can actually...
everyone.
No, I mean for like dwarf warrior, like a front line of dwarves, you can break the shields because all the dwarves tend to have bronze shields and then shoot
Yeah.
them with teeth breakers.
Yeah. Anyway,
But yeah, good. And also got some wolf rats on the far flanks just to sort of disrupt in the back line. Perfect counter to this build. No artillery.
They are AP.
No iron breakers in the front. No gremlins, iron breakers in the back. Triple quarrelers. A really tight formation. Belagar and Gotrek and a unit of iron drakes.
Iron Drake's really good against Skaven, but
Mhm,
bringing
yeah.
that much elite infantry against 2 mortars,
Is not going to go
that's
well.
gonna hurt.
We'll see how that progresses.
Also against because the thing is also Queek is actually a good choice here because Queek there's
Yeah.
only infantry you're only fighting infantry, and Queek can kill pretty much all infantry in the game by himself with all of his buffs.
Giselle, of course, have shield breakers, so it's perfectly fine just to fire into the iron breakers at this point.
Except for it doesn't do a lot of damage.
Yes,
It's iron. Considering it's iron breakers, it's value.
The dwarf with no artillery.
I mean, we can
Granted,
look at the value that they got. I don't think that's more than like a couple of, like not even 100 probably.
But to be fair, if they
200,
did bring
they're at
artillery,
300
all
now.
that would have.
Yes, because
all
they
that-
were shooting at something. They were shooting at Godric.
They weren't shooting at iron breakers.
Don't cheat, Willow.
But here they are firing
This
into
is,
correlers.
this is how you do the damage. This is where the
This is
matchup
the
is so
damage.
horrible. Because mortars are really, really good. At
Then just
killing.
summons as well, because you don't care if your summons take damage, so you can just rain all the fire onto them you want.
Yeah, getting Queek into Godric, good call. Queek will probably beat the living shit out of Godric.
Queek
Although
was
Delagar is
literally
also there to help
shit
him.
out of him.
Yeah, but Queek still might do like decent thing, yes.
Queek has like a 18 anti-infantry bonus with an attack of already like 65 or 60.
It does get pretty high. I brought his ability that negate that reduces armor and melee defense around him in an AoE as well, so that's affecting things as well.
the warp stone armor.
hmm
Yeah.
Did stack the teeth breakers a little bit by accident here, so they didn't get to fire. I had to move them forward before they could fire.
Also, Queek,
Black Whirlwind.
not many people use Queek, but Queek has basically a buffed trophy heads that is used on like the lords or heroes. I don't know how it's called actually, but it's basically what every assassin has, like ability to kill
It's called
heroes,
trophy heads.
lords and heroes. It's still called trophy heads, okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was better than the normal one.
It's bad, but I think it's called.
technically,
I think
yeah.
the normal one's not called trophy heads. It's called something else.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called like Hunter Champions.
Yeah,
or some shit.
something like that.
Oh, there's a Black Whirlwind.
Queek getting slammed down on a little bit by Godric and Belagard. Get him out of there with this Valor.
Yeah, Verminous Valor causes an
Look, here you go.
explosion
Look, Rattling
and
Gun
gets
firing into
bounced
Nogumlings.
off.
Look at that go. Nogumlings are reduced down to 17 speed.
Yeah. And also, isn't the Teeth Breakers also remove shield?
No, they don't. Only the Giselles
No, I think
do
the
that.
Teeth Breakers just have the concealment bombs. that
Yeah,
allow
and
them
extra
to-
damage. And everything. It comes with
Yeah.
being an RR.
Teeth Breakers are
yeah,
really
look
fun.
at
They're the
them
most
die.
fun Rattling Gun.
Yeah, here you can see, even though the poison winds are basically exclusively hitting the Skaven, they're going to do damage to the dwarves, and that's all that matters. You don't care. Like that clan rat unit, I'm pretty sure it's a summon. Yeah, that's a summon clan rat unit, so you really don't care about that one. And the other one was a Skaven slave unit. That's gone completely, so.
Yeah.
It's a perfect situation for the Skaven line to do all its best things. Also, Rattling Gunners have a field day going to shoot at
Also-
Godric there as well.
Once the Quarrelers are dead, there is literally nothing in the Dwarf line anymore that has the ability of killing the
Oh,
ranged units.
poor Godric. Looking like a Vermintide game with that. Disgusting.
Oh, I see.
But yeah, not a great matchup for dwarves.
Oh my god, just put down by just
Cool.
giant streams of
Bullet fire. Yeah. So, any
Yeah, but
you guys want to do some comments on the builds? While I go, I'll be back in a second.
well, Queek is always a good choice against dwarves because he's armor piercing. He can beat down pretty much any of the infantry that the dwarves have, and he just survives pretty well. Also, his warpstone armor pretty much helps deal with one of the problems, which is their high melee defense and their armor.
Yeah, by the way, Sanchez, why the dwarves do not bring artillery? Honestly, I don't think artillery is good versus Skaven
Yeah.
because the Giselles basically
clock
snipe your
chemical.
artillery. Like, you can double down and bring like 3 artillery pieces, but Willow would have even killed like 3 artillery pieces because he can't counter shoot against the Netty Boobos, and he would just kill the artillery
Yeah.
pieces, and then you just have like really expensive 20 dwarf units running around, which have no artillery pieces to man anymore.
Yep.
Basically, you should never pick this dwarves versus Skaven. If you go this, I think the best
I'm back.
or the most success I've seen for dwarves, like not even winning, but like bringing a huge army, like 20 units stacked
You-
dwarf
you want
armies,
to
and just rush
swamp
the
them.
Skaven. How
Look,
awful that
Teeth
sounds.
Breaker value. 1,496.
Yeah, that's borderline what you paid for them, like 400 gold more than you paid for them.
Yeah, you get 400. That's good value.
And it's a perfect target because if you would have rushed you with like 20 dwarf warrior units, you would have lost probably.
Consumer bomb.
Yeah.
Run away.
pretty much you bring a bunch of dwarf warriors and then a whole shitload of quarrelers, and
Yeah.
because the thing is, well, all your dwarf warriors that are ranged are going to beat all of the clan rats that they have, and as long as they have ranged, you have a means to kill his weapon steams if they get close enough. And if you have too many units, it's like if you remember the wood elf one where it was my Skaven of just a ton of rats versus the Wood Elves in their skirmish. They didn't have enough ammunition to kill everything, and they just ran out of ammo. You can
Yeah.
do that with the dwarves because they have a ton of armor and they have shields.
Yeah, so dwarves definitely have to play wide in this matchup.
I mean, you have to play wide against Skaven like with
Everything,
like,
every
almost
situation.
every faction.
Well, Sedaine, it's because the game's broken and doesn't understand the difference between a close victory, a Pyrrhic victory, or what
There's
a heroic
no idea
victory
what those
is.
things mean at all.
Like, I don't think I've ever seen the game reliably realize what a heroic victory is, or crushing defeat.
They don't exist.
There's
Yeah,
also I just dropped another replay below, which is Potato versus Reginator, Coast versus Lizardman.
Oh, a coast one, I'll take it. Let me just back out to do that. Do I still have it open? No, I don't. I've got to read. Oh, no, it's there. There it is.
You've got to do the bigger download.
The
war
is here.
Yeah. Bring more bullets. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
bring
basically how
more
you deal
men
with
than you have
Skaven.
bullets. Yeah. Because the thing is, the Skaven's morale won't hold them together long enough.
I mean, the Skaven can go Monster Mash, but like Monster Mash is...
Yeah.
There we go. Vampire Coast versus Lisbon. A pretty good matchup, I think, for the coast. We'll see how he does.
This is also from the tournament that we're running, the monthly tournament in the War Room. I think it was the first round.
Go on, plug some more.
And would have been the first game, so...
You shill.
I mean, you're not playing in this tournament, Willow, because you're scared of actually losing.
No, because I'd wipe the floor with everyone there. It wouldn't be fair.
Sure about that, Willow?
Yes. Absolutely
I've
sure.
seen you play.
Speaking of which, did you hear tomorrow we're doing a Warhammer quiz? Anybody watching the stream, go on to Zerk's stream, squeeze as many vouchers out of him as we can. He's doing a Warhammer quiz giveaway. I'm looking forward to it. It's only Total War based, so I should get all the answers right. And then it should be good fun. I look forward to it.
Skinks, Taurus with shields, red crested ROR, red crested skinks, 2 command skinks, 2 pterodon riders with bolas, and
Fire Leech
2
poses.
solar engines.
Yeah.
Willow, there's some questions about the quiz from Zerk.
What does he give away? He's giving away a voucher. I think it's like per for every 3 questions you get right, you get a £4 voucher, and if you get more, obviously that builds up over and over. So yeah, he's gonna be doing a giveaway. That's gonna be on tomorrow's stream.
Well,
Looking
I
forward
don't
to it.
live on an island, so I don't know how useful that'll be.
Oh yeah, good point. The Canadian pounds.
Tomorrow.
You're
So
weirdo.
anyway,
Yeah, looking at Lisbon Army, 2 solar engines, Skink Cohort, of course, shielded. You want those against the they'll beat Deckhand Mob, I think. Do they? Yeah, I think they do.
No, they actually didn't beat Deckhand mobs in the
Didn't
Zerk's unit testing.
There you go then. But they're chaff. They've got
the
shields
morale
to soak up some damage. They're there. Saurus, of course, will chew through because they also have the shields. They also have a good spread out formation and a fairly high amount of armor, so they don't take that much damage from bombers as well. More skinks on the side, some chameleon skinks. You typically want like a couple chameleon skinks in this matchup. Of course, you want to keep them quite close together to take out Luther, basically. I've also seen Tempest being brought. Yeah, I've seen Tempest get brought exclusively to deal with Luther Harker in this matchup because he's a real problem. 2 Fire Leech Bowlers do fire damage. Their explosive damage will do really good against all that chaff that the Vampire Coast can bring. Red Crested Skinks, just in case there's some armor in the matchup. They're also unbreak. They can make them unkillable, which can help against like missile damage and stuff if they're getting really shredded. Skink with Beasts for a Manticore summon and a Flock of Doom. Flock of Doom being good against Sirens, and then a Manticore summon you can just send against like the Caster or Luther or anything.
Or an artillery piece.
Solar engines you can fire into artillery pieces, can fire into Luther, etc. And also it's Krokgar. Oh no, there's a Raptor. Interesting. What is the normal lord choices? Yeah, he's got Hands of the Gods.
Okay.
And Swiftness of Itzel.
I guess
few other
that's
bits.
one way of dealing with those Harkin.
Yeah, I don't know if... Yeah, I guess he does have... Yeah, he probably will win if he lands, but he can just shoot him. I don't think he comes with a shield. No, he doesn't. So there is that issue that
Well,
could
I
be
mean, isn't the Eye of the Gods supposed to be a
Oh,
missile
yeah,
attack
it is,
against a hero unit?
Yeah, you
it's
can fire
basically
it a couple
good
times.
Shem's Burning Gaze. It
Yeah.
actually hits.
Yeah.
It's just a stronger
Except
version of it,
it's
basically.
even.
I think it's basically
better.
an overcast, isn't it? Isn't it overcast?
Yeah.
Gems, basically. Yeah, just a fair amount of damage. Looking at the coast side, with scurvy dogs, probably just to chase off routing units and maybe get into some chameleon skinks. Fell bats, it's probably similar reason to the scurvy dogs. Handguns, pirate gunnery mob will of course do really good against dinosaurs. Bombers, because they're bombers, you usually bring them in the front line support. Deckhands in front of them to cover, of course. Cannons again to take out those large units, those large armored units that the lizardmen usually bring. Lore of Vampires. That's basically what you normally want as your lore. The classic 2 spells of the Summon and Invocation and the Heck, as well as Luther Harkin. Of course, he can give his Terrorgeist breaths. He's got armor piercing. He's got his gun. He can hornswaggle something if he needs to. Just really good in this matchup. And some deck gunners, 1 unit of deck gunners, and some polearms in the back just to cover.
Back even just Feral Cult ones would have been really good here. 450 gold, basically a Hound unit, Vanguard deployment.
Yeah, some couple
Set
feral
it up.
cold ones could do. Also, I think they beat Scurvy dogs as well. So
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they rampage probably, and then they get the.
they have the armor to deal with it probably.
Yeah, they'd survive because their melee attack isn't that bad.
Some more Scurvy dogs in this forest over here. Cannon shots firing out. Did that cannon shot just hit? Yeah, the cannon shot just hit Luther. That guy's getting fired. The first, oh yeah, you can see these solar engines getting a bit
zombie other than getting
killed.
shot.
Yeah, fired literally out of a cannon. He gets fired in the next round. But yeah, solar engines probably going to lose the cannon matchup. They don't. No, yeah, I don't think they'll. Yeah, first they need to get into range, and that one's probably going to get picked off before he even gets into range, especially if Luther has his way with it. The laser just flying past Luther there didn't actually get the hit off, right into the cameraman. That gunner's firing into those
in the end.
pterodons, although the tree line is preventing them from taking any damage. Just waiting for the
do
front lines
really
to
good
get-
against Pterodons, right?
Do they? Oh, maybe that is a good point. Yeah, maybe that's what they're for. Didn't think of that.
What, the cannons?
I mean,
or
it's
the
only 1
Felbats?
Felbats, okay, I thought he had 2 Felbats.
There's the one,
Yeah,
but
if you had-
still, just getting them into some pterodons would
The
probably be fine.
Pterodons would win, but not quickly. Meaning that
Oh
they
yeah,
could
not with
help
44
build-
melee defense there.
Yeah, they would.
On the
And
left,
then
he chased
they
off the
could shot.
Basilodon. I think he's bringing over the Hounds to chase it off.
Yeah,
but
he's
I
bringing
don't
those
think
hounds
they're gonna
over.
be there fast enough.
If they get this
So
around on it, it
probably
might just be
valid.
enough for another leadership, but enough to route it again. So, just trying to shoot down these pterodons because, of course, they can just put, they
Unlucky. I know that
The
they
ter-
fight each other.
if the pterodons drop on the cannons, I'm pretty sure they'll kill them instantly. But
Yeah, the rock drop.
Yeah, the rock drop that the pterodons can do, but they're just taking so much damage. All those rock drops gone. One volley there from the pirate gunnery mob. He really could have just instantly dropped instead of trying to fire at them with the bowlers. Just
He
drop
could've
them.
fly over, drop it, and fly away.
Manticore
So they
summon
have a chance to respond.
to go into Luther, presumably also firing the chameleon skink rounds into him. Chameleon skink can definitely whittle down Luther really well. So if he gets caught up in engagement with the Manticore, he could go down because of that. Bomber's going for the better target because they don't do that much damage to Saurus. It'd be better off going after the red-crested skinks, along with the handguns as well, because they're unshielded. Oh yeah, Hand of the Gods, a lot of damage to Luther Harkin there. A lot of good damage. Even the bombers turning away from the Saurus to just throw into the skinks because it's such a better target for them to throw at. The tight formation, the low armor, it's perfect. Most of the Pterodon Reddits have gone down by this point. Bombs being thrown into the Saurus because there's not much else to throw at with that angle. A Flock of Doom onto 2 of those units. Felbat's still flying around, but this Basilodon is going to go down soon. Luther Harkin getting chased off quite a fair bit. So is the solar engine in the back here, though, where the hounds. Hopefully, he should be able to recover because of the regen. But see how he goes.
Problem is Luther's getting separated from the Vampire Fleet Captain that can actually heal him, and Crocker on the Vampire Fleet Captain, really good management from Reg.
Yeah, if he can
Because
take out that
he'll,
caster, boom, really good.
But he's not getting really a contact, so.
But he's not. He'd be better just trying to surround him with the Saurus probably,
Yeah.
because the vampire caster has no armor.
He's really unlucky here because
He's just doing circles around him.
like that's some bad luck there for Reg.
Yeah, all the Vampire Coast range units are basically focused on this blob at this point because there's not all the blessed The Stegodons have been taken out at this point. Still don't even. So.
Having the solar
Oh
engines
boy.
were
I'm the Crookgar. He's been taking a
I
lot of
think he
damage.
was focused down by the guns
Cannons and the
all
guns.
the handgun mobs.
Taking a lot of damage.
Sanchez says that he feels the Lizardmen wasted too much money on the solar engines.
Yeah, solar.
Yeah,
If you get a really short map, then solar engines can outperform cannons. But with the fact they had to come into range first, it means they just got destroyed too quickly.
Yeah, but he had no healing. Normally you bring healing for.
Yeah, as well. You
for
also want the
if
healing
you
as
wanna
well.
do that,
No healing
like
in
a
this matchup.
stand-in. Second Manticore summoning is gonna do decent amount of damage to Luther probably, but he's running away.
Luther can just outrun the Manticores and wait for them to go away. So. Oh, does keep him from shooting. Now he doesn't have that much ammo. He doesn't actually mind not shooting for some time. Since there's no gunnery white to stock up. Although now he's just throwing his Manticore into the cannons to try and finish that off. But yeah, the fact that Crocker has no shield really came back there. Took a lot of damage from all that firepower.
Yeah.
It's just Saurus left at this point.
Losing Krokor is that's gonna hurt.
Saurus and the Beastcaster, though he's used both his Manticore summons now, so there's not an awful lot that he can get out of the Beastcaster at this point.
Yeah, probably Luther can tear out almost anything that's still left on the battlefield except for the unbreakable skinks.
Yeah, the key Red Crested Skinks. They're still around.
And he will kill the Beastcaster in seconds, so light leadership will be gone.
Thing is, the Vampire Fleet Captain's also in there killing that. Although Crocker is still alive, all it's going to take is like even these Scurvy Dogs could probably finish him off at this point, send him routing at least. And it's really low on health. Luther just running away from the Manticore, waiting for it to despawn. Not troubling himself with that. No need to.
Sanchez suggests that he could have just brought more chameleons or javelins. Or
Yeah, instead of bringing a cohort, you can just bring javelins instead. Because like there's no downside. Not to mention that javelins will do pretty good. Well, I think they'll probably do a lot of damage to the gunnery mob, the bombers.
Yeah,
Ooh, nice Hand of the Gods, just on Luther, like took him down by like,
Yeah, he's really low.
Luther just lost to 2,000 more
Oh,
than
the fact that he didn't chase off Crocker already came back there because he had another Hand of the Gods to fire. Throwing bombs at Crocker. I mean, at this point the Vampire Coast has one, but still, really going crazy throwing bombs into his own formation.
Not chasing down Crocker.
Once Krokar dies, the army will probably fall apart.
I mean, honestly, if the rock drops would have been on point, like he actually first thing throw the chameleons, the Pterodons in, do the rock drop, he could have maybe killed like both of the cannons. Yes, he would have probably sacrificed the Pterodon riders,
but that's fine. That's perfectly acceptable.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably wouldn't have all died either because there was only one unit firing, so they could have just pulled them out after they dropped.
He might have survived. Like he might have actually, like Crocker might have survived and would have been able to kill the Vampire Fleet Captain.
Yeah, because you take the cannons out,
this.
then your Bastildons can just fire freely, pretty much the whole time.
I think
all
the
have
would
to go
have been dead by this point, but he could have. Like,
yeah,
I think he could have won.
One of them would have been dead, but
it was a pretty close match.
Yeah, it was not.
And also, the fact that Luther Harkin came so close to dying twice.
Yeah,
it wasn't as one-sided.
Lots of value from Crocker exclusively from doing that.
Yeah, from just
firing off Hands of the Gods. But yeah, not
Luther
ton of value.
actually did drop down below like a third of his health. I mean, down to like less than 1/3.
Real low down.
Like, he was in a killable range. It's the problem. There was not enough really any range units that could kill him.
Also, Luther did not pull his weight in this.
No, really good value from the deckhand.
Yeah.
The handgunners.
Yeah.
And the cannons.
Pretty much, if it was a gun, it was useful.
Tends to be against Lisbon. Yeah. Oh, I think what was there? There was actually it was one Vampire Coast vs Dwarfs. There we go. This is my anti-dwarf build. It's similar to yours. Like so it's also on MP Crossroads again. To be fair, this wasn't a very good dwarf build. Sorry, Necrotic. You might be watching there, but.
No, he's got a fire cannon that automatically makes it good, Willow.
Of course, yeah.
You know?
And gold chevron miners.
Yeah, gold chevron miners. You never know. Like, those guys are from the deep, deep mines.
Ooh, lots of Vampire Coast down there.
Yeah, they're so experienced with fighting them. They just automatically have gold chevrons. Yeah.
Your thoughts, like us? MP Crossroads.
I'm not. I mean, the rotting Leviathan I guess the armor is supposed to protect him against crawlers, and you're guessing he would not bring handguns.
Thunderers in this matchup, maybe not.
Thunderers, because he probably
Spam
would want to deal
crawlers.
with Mongols, and crawlers are better for dealing with Mongols. Yes, but the problem is, Sanchez, you can't really go for like your basic infantry will do 0 damage. You bring double crab. Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, your basic infantry does not deal damage against. I don't know what Willow told you earlier, but basic infantry does not do damage against any of the dwarfs. The only thing that actually does damage is the Sirens, but the Sirens are not that good in this matchup. You mainly bring them for the terror
enough
and
melee
the
attack to
They
do
only
it.
have
and
23 melee attack.
fast moving, like being flanked, terror routes, and like attacks and a bad penalty. But your main breadwinners is probably the Death Guard, because they absolutely shred any of the dwarven infantry except for maybe
And they
hammerers.
regenerate.
Yes, because dwarfs do damage so slowly that you can actually regenerate through the damage most of the time.
Yeah, and
You
they
do-
will win
yeah.
eventually. And with 2 crabs supporting them, there's not much they can do about it.
Vampire
probably
Fleet
like
Captain for healing as well. And
Yeah,
no
it's
spells.
probably
for
the two
flush.
matchups what you can do this. But either Queen Best to nuke the dwarfs, or bring like Salostra and
Double,
do
yeah,
big
dwarfs.
Yeah,
crabs to
I
punch it.
typically only bring Queen Best when you have like a hill or forest to hide behind. Like obviously with MP Crossroads, there's no chance you're hiding behind anything on this map. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the dwarf army, you have gyrocopters with brimstone guns, a front line of dwarf warriors, a couple longbeards in the sides, crawlers, miners in the back, and a flame cannon, along with Grumbrindle and Felix. I'd also deployed a Scurvy Dog unit way back here just to be backline disruption again.
Yeah, it might be a smaller army, but the thing is, especially I guess with MP Crossroads, as long as you close the distance, because the likelihood of actually killing one of the crabs, even with like 2 sets of cannons, is unlikely, because you could just heal it back up.
Yes, but Willow would have probably loved to have something to deal with the gyrocopters, because they
I
could just
do
sit there the
have
whole
something.
battle.
I have
What?
summons.
Oh yeah. You could just summon
I
some
can summon my
boys.
guns and then shoot them down myself.
Not really efficient.
It's something to keep them like moving at least, so they can't just constantly fire at whatever they want.
Yeah.
They probably aren't going to kill them any time
Actually,
quickly, but
that's some decent damage.
yeah, it's definitely going to keep
from
them,
it.
force them to move, at the very least. They can't just move away because they don't have the longest of range. They can probably just move over to this side and start shooting this one. But then they're not shooting my lord; they're just shooting the basic crab.
Felix do magic damage?
No,
No.
I know
It's
yes,
fire
fire
damage.
damage.
if he
Yeah,
dings his item, yeah.
Yeah.
I just throw the crab right into the miners there. Really good hits there, just to disrupt them so they can't throw into my infantry. Depth guard getting into the dwarf warriors there. They'll do really well, especially when mixed in with the basic zombies. Siren's going for a wide flank. Grumbiddle does do magic damage, so I have to stay clear of him. Scurvy dog to the back line, just doing backline
Oh, but he
things.
hit him with the slow.
He is
Yeah, hit
running
him with
the
smoke
flame
bomb,
cannon
a
right
lot
into
of
the front line there. Bit of a mistake there. Knight Errant, again, trying to disrupt those miners as much as possible so they can't just delete my deckhand mob.
Or delete them.
Yeah, one or the other. Oh, there's a brimstone round that went right into some miners there. That was a
Yeah.
bad aim.
Sanchez points out that the army is still very small for a coast army.
It's quite small, yeah, because the you don't need that many. Going wide in this matchup against dwarves isn't a great idea because the deckhand mob do nothing. Literally every variant of the deckhand mob does basically nothing. You only want to bring like a gunnery mob unit to take out gyrocopters, and that's basically it. The best case scenario is you summon a deckhand mob onto a cannon, and that's like the most value you could possibly get from one of them. Knight Errant, of course, causing terror to these non-immune psychology units, like that attempt to be in the backline of the dwarves, like miners and crawlers. So they'll be able to get chased off by those. I did also notice that like they're not armor piercing now. Sadly,
Yeah,
the damn Knight
also-
Errant not armor piercing.
I mean, Knights
Also
Errant are
without-
not armor piercing.
I know,
so
but
why
all
would-
ethereal units are basically. Every ethereal unit is armor piercing. Not
Yeah,
this
there's
one though.
no-
Yeah. But without something like Thunderers, there's no way they're going to kill.
But yeah, rotting leviathans now. Yeah, no thunderers, no cannons.
No
really bad situation.
Slayers.
Well,
Like,
I think even Slayers won't do too good against rotting leviathans because of the armor. It's like
Or-
150
or
armor.
Giant Slayers will do
Giant
this, but
Slayers.
Yeah, giant
else.
Slayers will.
150 armor, there's nothing.
Yeah, it's 100. That's a really armored unit. That's like Ironbreakers. It's a really sturdy shell.
well, Ironbreakers only have 120, I think.
You don't really expect like dragon scales to be weaker than crab. People are making like dragon swords. They should just be making crab swords. 150 armor is
Crab
huge.
swords.
Like, that's Ironbreaker armor. If you made a suit out of crab armor, you'd literally be an Ironbreaker. What
I mean,
is
it's
the armor
basically, like,
value?
They're like carrying a boat on top, and
that's
then they have
wood.
the shell. So
It's wood. What's that gonna do?
Yeah.
you don't
Look
know
at that!
it's wood.
Whoa, that's what is that dance?
Oh, is that,
Yeah,
is
that's
that
dance
hardened
moves.
metal? Yeah, a dwarf feast basically for the rotting leviathan too. I just summoned up some more deckhand mob to shoot to again disrupt those gyrocopters, prevent them from getting their sort of focus fire off. I moved. Felix is again not immune to psychology, so rotting leviathan have a whale of a time destroying him. Just smashing into the Lego slasher, smashing through. Instead of having him fight the depth guard when he's anti-infantry and armor piercing, just throw a rotting leviathan into it. Don't be afraid to like switch out engagements when the engagement isn't that good favoured and you have a better option. One bundle is, of course, going against the Rotting Leviathan here, but he's surrounded by so much infantry, I should probably just have moved the Rotting Leviathan out by now, just trying to do some damage to him. Also, these Brimstone guns really not hitting the crab too much, despite it being a huge target. The accuracy of those guys seems to be really low. I'd recommend moving them a lot closer to the target they're firing at. They don't hit. That one again missing. It's weird, they seem to hit about like 2 out of 3 of the shots, despite even though it's a huge target of a crab. Weird. Yeah, mostly the rest of the Dwarfs are just getting mopped up here. It's down to just one Brindle, but he's surrounded by infantry, which isn't really what you want to be at. And the gyrocopters almost out of ammo, so there goes army losses. Was one Brindle always unbreakable?
Yes, no, he was changed a couple of patches
Yeah,
ago.
yeah, it was, wasn't he? He just had really high leadership. Yeah, but good values from the Rotting Leviathans. All things considered, Depth Guard has also did pretty well, like really well. This one at 1,500 value. I think this is the matchup they shine in. As I said with the other matchup with Potato Sauce and Lycus. Which, considering it's such a bad matchup for Vampire Coast, it really makes them like a necessity here. You really have to change up your strategy for this matchup. But is there any more? Are we out of replays? Oh no, here we go. High Elves versus Dwarves. Is that the last one we have? Oh, Vampire Coast versus Warriors of Chaos. Who's this one? There you go. Forgot about this one. Ooh, that is a Chaos army. Psycho the Expert of Chaos can give us a rundown on that one. It's a weird looking one. Loading in. There we go. Loaded in. Ooh, very elven map for two very not elven factions, all things considered. Let's take a look at the coast army first. Frontline deckhand mob to be expected. Some depth guard with polearms in the back. Worried about chariots, chaos large units, chaos knights, things like that. Depth guard with polearms don't do as well, I think, as regular depth guard. I think the ROR depth guard polearms is nice, but the basic depth guard polearms, I think you'd be better off just bringing like the chaff polearm unit overall. I think it's just a more efficient cost usage because of how expensive these guys are. Handgunners in the back, so that they can shoot into everything. Another thing to mention is the fact that the depth guard polearms are really thin lines, so that large targets can usually just walk right through them and then get into the handgun unit, which isn't great for them. Some Night Terrors in the side here. A lot of Chaos infantry isn't immune to psychology, so the fact that they cause terror, the fact they're armor-piercing anti-infantry, that's clearly the tool he has to take out the most of the Chaos infantry. These and the Sirens in the back. Sirens prove to be pretty good backline support units. You can basically use them like cavalry in that regard. Is that they're quite fast and they're really hard to walk through. Despite them being a thin line, their models are really high mass, so cavalry units can't usually charge through them nicely. Some more pirate, pretty symmetrical on the other side with that. Fleet captain with the typical Curse of Years as well. for some reason. Oh no, it's a Wind of Death. Wind of Death can do quite well against, of course, especially in this situation when you've got a line like this. If that line proves to hold out all the way, a Wind of Death could prove very good. But typically, you just want to be using your Winds of Magic on Invocation and the summon. Aranessa, of course, because she can bring the net so that she can net something down and have everything else shoot it. And as well as a melee buff, but isn't great. It's some leadership which helps with the Chaffee front line, and also has to apply melee attack and bonus versus large to the front line. Although she is alive, so that means she can't benefit from the healing that the Vampire Fleet Captain can provide.
You also get killed by probably all of the Chaos Lords except for Thoriel.
Yeah, probably like only Sarthoriel. Even then, like the low armor of Aranessa.
Sanchez, Aranessa is not a vampire. She is a human mutant.
Yeah, she's actually a normal
author of the
person.
Nan, the sea god, basically. That's why she has those. Like, she used to have a tail, a mermaid's tail, I think, that she basically cut off to live with humans.
Yeah, basically. So she can't get affected by that vampire magic, unfortunately, which means she can't get healed. I wish she had regeneration, but she doesn't.
Yeah,
So.
Giving her regeneration would actually make sense. I think she has regeneration in the line. Our ship has regeneration. In
yeah,
the
ship does, but it's mutant regeneration. You could see that. I could see that being a thing.
I mean, she cut her own legs off, basically. So
yeah, she's pretty hardy at the very least.
Regeneration would make sense.
2 mortars, interesting choice against Chaos. I don't see them doing much. I think you're better off just cannons. He has the 1 carronade here, but that's it. For the Chaos army, he has Marauder Horsemen there on the side, some Chaos Chariots. Of course, the Chaos Chariots can be good as long as they don't get caught out. If they get caught in the wrong situation, they're going to die very quickly, but if they can run through without getting shot, they can instantly disrupt the Vampire Coast backline. A couple of units of those, some more stuff, and some Chaos Warhounds in the backline there as well. And then the front line of just 5 unit of Chaos Warriors. Very difficult to kill for Vampire Coast, except from, of course, he has the Mongols and the Sirens to deal with them. That's basically all he has. And Chaos Spawn. Chaos Spawn would be a very good target to be shot at, but they do have very good damage output. So I have to see how that goes. And his lord is Archaon on the horse, with Burning Head and the what is it called? Bombardment spell called Piercing Bolts. Flaming Skull.
Maybe he doesn't know that this was nerfed.
Yeah, it was nerfed, wasn't it?
Yeah, because you used to drop it on artillery pieces or like single entities and it would basically nuke them into oblivion. But it was nerfed hard, so.
But Flaming Skull will do good pretty much against everything in this army here, so that's a good choice.
Oh, is this Chaos?
Yeah, it's Chaos. You're missing the Chaos part.
Oh no.
He's got Chaos Chariots and Horsemen.
Why Chariots? Is it Gorby's Chariots at
No,
least?
Chaos Chariots.
That's disappointing.
Chariot. I mean, the problem with Necrotic is he has so many targets for the cannon. Basically, the cannon can probably shoot like almost everything in the roster.
He should have brought more carronades and mortars. Like, he's only getting mortar value here because these Marauder Horsemen are standing still. That's the only target really has.
Standing there. Why are they standing there?
Menacingly. Oh, a Burning Head here could wipe out 1 or 2 units of deckhand mobs if he doesn't move in turn. Also, he's moving that gun line unit. Could prove. Oh no, it swerved off to the side. He got lucky there. It swerved off a little bit. Went right into the water.
Look at that! Look at that! Perfectly
aligned right in front.
Also, okay, moving a Chaos in like this really horrible.
Especially when Araness has a net,
yeah. Shoot him with the handguns. You would have probably like not killed him, but put him down really low. Yeah, the net is actually, and he doesn't have anything to follow up on that. But
that's a thing.
Yeah, they got shot at by the Marauder Horsemen at the when Necrotic was concentrating on the left flank. Yeah. And then they probably rampaged.
Yeah, it gets set up. So really didn't want to move those into there. Wanted to save those for when the Chaos Warriors got here. Yeah, he's dropping Piercing Bolt on a summon now.
Which
it's going to be fun to watch.
To do the net? What has
Aranessa.
The net, actually? Aranessa?
Yeah, it's got Aranessa.
But if there is no Aranessa, in a lot of cases... Wow, okay.
He's firing mortars at Chaos Spawn now.
That's... Yeah.
Burning Head going down, this probably isn't going to do much damage to the Depth Guard pole arms. Well, I did a little bit, but I think it's just going to hit every model.
It'll do some damage.
Did something, but not an awful lot.
But the key thing is it knocks over units, meaning our Chaos can run away.
I doubt he's going to use that to run away. Oh, what's going on here though? Oh, Wind of Death. Ooh, alright, Wind of Death. Not quite amazing. It could have been better lined up, but all things considered, it was alright. Sirens getting stuck into this Chaos Spawn. Cannon pinpointed focused on Archaon. I think the whole time it's being focused on Archaon. This unit of gunnery mobs way out of line. These chariots could really have a field day if they went off to them right now. Somehow the Knight Terrors are still holding on. I guess it's the regeneration and the low melee attack of the chariots that's helping out.
The Marauder Horsemen were in melee with the
Oh,
Knight
were
Horse
they?
and
Yeah,
not
that's not what you want to do. Yeah, it'd be much better
also,
with how much ammo they
there's
have.
2 other Marauder Horsemen just sitting in the back.
Yeah, standing there
What do you
menacingly.
think of Mongols? You can
Potato
never get them
wants
to
to
work.
ask what you think about Mongols, Willow.
They're alright. I think they have... are they alright, actually? I think there's certain matchups they excel in, especially the Knight Terrors, because they're a quick causing terror unit, which is basically like the only one the Vampire Coast have access to.
Yeah.
So they definitely have their uses against like low leadership factions, but I wouldn't use them as a cavalry. I wouldn't use them as if they were exactly like cavalry.
No,
Yeah.
they usually work best with infantry support or hound support.
Or hound support, yeah.
Also, like the matchups I like them in are basically not the best matchups. Like Empire, they do good because they kill flagellants, but
Normally,
not
actually,
the most efficient way. And they also work good against high elves if you need to rush, because archers. I mean, archers kill them, but like they go reasonably well to the front line. You can pull them through the silver hums. I don't like the Knight Terrors because I don't see their use.
I like the Terracles in this, but that's just me.
that's
Also,
kind
every time you get hit by like a wind spell or something, you don't like try to move out of the way. You try to move your units so that it's vertical to how the spell is. So it just goes.
Yeah.
To the
So
center
if
of
you
the
have a
unit.
spell going like this, you want to
We do that
make it so your units like
almost.
this, so it minimizes the damage.
Yeah, this is what Necrotic did. I don't know if it did accidentally or just did it intentionally with the polearms.
Yeah,
But
I
they
think it's just a
basically
move.
did no damage. I mean, the spell would have done terribly well
Is
against
that a down
Archaon.
Marauder Horseman? Aranessa done surprisingly good
But-
damage to Archaon, I think.
I think he was trying to aim for Archaon and just get mixed up.
But personally, I don't ever use horsemen versus coast because it's kind of a waste of money.
They get
in most
outshot really
cases.
quickly, yeah.
They get shot to pieces. They don't do enough damage to out damage the guns, and you could just bring more Forsaken or more Spawn. Because the problem with the Chaos Warriors as well is that well they aren't fast enough. They can't
They
close
can't
the
really
distance
close the
fast enough.
distance close.
And also with this very specific thing where since he had Aranessa, Arcan can't run ahead, but you could whip fireballs at that bitch because she can't heal.
And she has no magic she has physical resistance.
Yeah, but but if it was any other lord, you could probably given how it was set up, you could probably just run Archaon in, kill the cannons and mortars, and have a field day with them.
With everything else, yeah. Drop
Because
a
there's
flaming skull on
nothing-
those deckhand mobs so they can't shoot you.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah, and for all intents and purposes, Archaon could just like run in, and there would be nothing he could do in the middle of his formation to buy time for the rest of his army to catch up. But like, if I were him, just replace all the Chaos Warriors with Forsaken, so
Yeah,
they
Forsaken.
can close the distance.
Or even Marauders, and then you can put money somewhere else.
Also, you have Flaming Sword of Ruin.
No, we had Burning Head and Piercing Bolts.
That's not very good.
Yeah, you want flaming sword against the Sirens because the
Flaming Sword of Ruin,
guys can do magic damage.
Skull, and Fireball are pretty much the 3 spells you'll probably need against Coast. Yeah, because the Chaos Army probably could have one, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe if it was just like some of those horsemen we used a bit better, like more to surround
Yeah,
and more or less to just
or
fill up the flanks.
if he put the horsemen all in the back, like Vanguard deployed in the
Yeah,
corner,
right behind them. Yeah.
ran them out to go for the artillery.
Could have killed the
kill.
crew really quickly if he had got a full 1 or 2 volleys on them.
Yep. Like the battle was winnable. It's just the guy brought both a bad build and then threw away Archaon.
Hate
Because
you,
he
Dwarfs
thought-
and Dwarves. No chariots. No, Quinn. I guess Quinn doesn't know what the. I mean,
He's not a
yeah,
meta man
he
like
doesn't.
you.
No, he's not a meta man like me. But
Well,
yeah,
make then-
we'll talk about this for you. I'll mention this again later. But the typically this matchup is now, I think, a bit more even. I think as time's gone by, I think this is a pretty even matchup, all things considered. But the way High Elves usually play this is with like White Lions, either White Lion chariots or just double noble on chariot, and then you bring like a Lariel to heal them, and then you can just run the nobles through the dwarf line as much as you want. Although with mass changes and with Grombrindle Smoke Bomb, it has gone a bit more in the dwarf favour. But it used to be an unstoppable thing for him.
Yeah,
High
there's literally nothing. Well, to be fair, nobles on chariot are always a pain in the ass
Mhm.
because they They could pull through literally everything. They were armor piercing and
Then did really good
anti-infantry.
damage. Even to
It
large
is-
units, as long as they got if they got like one behind them, one in front of it, they could kill like any single entity.
Yeah, it was just really dumb.
And then you drop an
it
Alarial
was,
like Star Avalon to just instantly heal them up.
yeah, like double noble Alarial is kind of an idiot-proof build where no matter what, you will do pretty okay as long as you right-click on something.
Right click on it,
Like
watch it disappear.
you could ignore the rest of your army and just micro those 3 units and do a whole bunch of damage. Dude just threw his super, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Arcane did probably, like, if you would have some follow-up, maybe the Horseman or the Chariots, Arcane would have probably done good.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
Fred, you
because
got
And
there was-
also,
there was-
if Quinn, no, not Quinn, sorry, if Necrotic would have been on top of his micro, he would have just deleted Arcane probably at the start.
Yeah, almost immediately net him. Everything fires at him. Like, if the
Got
Marauders
exactly,
were
yeah.
coming in to at least kill the handgunners or to give him targets to shoot at, except, you know, the Chaos player didn't move his horseman because he is,
What is happening here?
that Chaos player was Mega Brain. I'll lull him into a false sense of security by letting him mortar my horseman. Hi, Necrotic.
Rock is here. I'm getting some lag for some reason. Hey,
Yeah,
does this show up on
Necrotic,
stream?
have you checked your broadband?
It's a bit. It's actually, yeah, it is a bit laggy.
I don't know why I am lagging actually in game on this. I do not lag in
I mean, the
game.
quality of the stream is fine. It's just a bit laggy because
Yeah.
replay. I mean, Turin once said that the replay can be laggy. I've not quite get how, but
Yeah, it might be a bit of a laggy replay, but I will. But don't worry, Necrotic, we've already watched all your games, so I can't insult you. You really have to look back at the videos in order to see how much I've insulted you, so sorry about that. If we're looking at the high elf build, over in the trees, basically using these as hounds, Alarian Reavers, and the sides then...
The stream is
surprisingly,
super quiet.
Is it super quiet still? My volume? What's quiet about it?
Let me check the volume.
Yeah, check it.
Yeah, it's kind of quiet.
The in-game, or is it the the
The
voices?
actual stream.
Oh, turn your volume up? Question mark. Let me turn everything up then just a bit. Boom. How's that looking? All these audio settings. Get
is
my
it
head
better
around.
now, Necrotic? He says better, but probably not
Better.
best. So.
Is this for you too as well, or is this just necrotic problems?
No. It's the stream in general.
The stream in general, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, anyway, looking at the high elf army, we have some war lines of trace over on the flanks here. Typically, they're more of an infantry support thing as much as a flanking thing. Probably wanted to keep those with the infantry corps, although his infantry corps is already insanely expensive with triple sword masters of Hoeth and a lore master of Hoeth wizard.
Master.
Coming with just Earthblood and the buff from Lord of Heavens. Also has an Eagle Claw bolt thrower. Probably just right there to snipe artillery, but it's no artillery to snipe in this situation. Could also use them against the gyrocopters, or he hasn't got any archers here to deal with the gyrocopters, which is a problem. Because they're just they can outrun the dragon, so they're just gonna be able to fire on that. Cause yeah, speaking of which, he has the dragon, prince on a dragon. Not sure what to say about that. Any comment?
It is a dragon.
It is a dragon, a prince
It's
on
a
a dragon.
dragon. It's a big dragon.
And it's a big fucking target, too.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, especially when you look over at the dwarf roster over here. We've got the 2 gyrocopters with brimstone guns. We have triple thunder? No, it's double thunderers, but he also has the Ulthwaz raiders, which can provide that missile debuff and the reduction in armor and parry chance. Not to mention they have an insanely large amount of missile strength, which is also armor piercing.
What Udo wants to say is that dragon is not going to be long for those.
Yeah, the dragon's gonna die. He also has a front line of miners, which I don't know how... They're probably going to kill the Swordmasters of Hoeth because of how many there are. Also has Grumbling Guard, some Longbeards and some Slayers, as he's noticed the Illyrian Reavers are over on this side, so now he's redeployed his Slayers to counter those. And the War Lions, he's getting countered by not much else. Probably wants to send a Slayer unit over here to deal with the War Lions. But yeah, let's press play. It is a really jittery stream, this replay. Maybe it's just something wrong with the replay. Weird. No, I can read the chat as well, I guess.
Yeah,
You guys don't see that.
read the last message in the
I
chat.
can see it, I've read it. impressed.
feel like this is an important message. I don't know who wrote it, but I feel like this is
I don't know.
very
Some
nice.
sounds like some real terrible name. What kind of name is Lucas Cerebrus?
I read it as the Licus.
Lycus.
Yeah, it's probably
miners
French.
blasting charges coming in.
Carabrus.
Oh god, look at that damage too.
Pretty good damage. And now the miners are out of. They've used up all their blasting charges at this point, so they can just like do
They've
their own
already
blasting
made
damage.
back their value in one.
Yeah, pretty much. If you look at the value of like this miner unit, 400, boom, that value made up. And not to mention they're still in melee as well, so they're holding them in place while they get axes thrown at them. Although the backline is really chaos back here, some really spread out, lots of gaps in the dwarf backline where units could sneak in and disrupt. Although the dragon is getting thrown into some longbeards there, and now it's getting axes thrown at her. You can just see how much damage those axes do to a dragon.
They killed them so quick.
Real quick. Over here, got the mighty roar going down,
Stream is
but
getting laggy below.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
now
this
it's-
is
now
the
it's becoming
in-game.
slideshow time.
I think this is just in-game for some reason.
Oh, it's actually in game.
Yeah, it's something wrong with this replay, I think. This replay is corrupt.
Oh, there we go. Yeah,
Yeah.
Swordmaster Hoeth. They're not even done the miners, and they've lost more than like.
Yeah,
almost-
wait, one of them has lost like nearly 3/4 of their health at this point.
And the others have lost pretty much half.
It's rough. It's real rough for them.
Yeah.
And the dragon is really unhealthy.
The swordmasters are basically unshielded. Like, I mean, they have a silver missile block
they
chance,
have
I
a-
think.
Good
They
breath on
did.
long
Yeah,
bit.
they have
No,
silver,
they-
but
Yeah,
Yeah.
they have the bronze shield.
bronze, I meant, yeah, basically.
Yeah, they have a basic bronze shield, but that doesn't matter against blasting charges because it's an explosive attack which doesn't get blocked.
Yeah, but now he's
And
out of blasting
also-
charges. He only
also,
has the thunders.
Throwing axes, those throwing axes, I believe, have shield breaker.
The ability
their
does.
shield.
The ability, if he pops the ability, it gets
Ooh,
rid of the
hey.
shield.
Yeah.
His weapons themselves don't get it, but the ability reduces missile parry chance by 24, which basically reduces the shield level.
Yeah.
Yes, Quinn doesn't play the meta, so he just picks whatever he likes.
Yeah, these
Yep.
games are for fun. They're trying to trigger me by not picking the mare. Look at them. Tuh. Spit. Ooh, the war lions went right into the backs of the Ulfars Rangers there. That was nice, although they're going to get surrounded by Slayers now.
They're gonna get a bunch of hairy, naked dwarf men all over them.
Dragon trying to go for the
Also-
gyrocopters.
I don't know if you are still allowed to pick double and double charioteers.
Aye?
I have to
You
check
are.
with banner rules. There was
Might
a
wanna-
problem banning that actually.
Pretty sure you
so-
are. I don't think there's a point in banning it at this point because of how nerfed it's been. They should have
Yeah.
banned it like a year ago.
When it was like I
Okay.
said, it was idiot proof. You could just micro your nobles, and you didn't really need to do anything.
Yes, you
else.
can. See, look, you know some rules better than you do, Lycus. What are you doing? But yeah, look at that. Ulfar's
Oh.
Rangers, really good value from those because of the axes just doing the same amount of damage, and he just threw them at dragons.
I'd blame it on like Esopus's beard.
Or yeah,
Honestly.
yeah, that's probably it. Yeah, all the
That's where
miners
he
paid,
keeps all,
got their
he
money
keeps
back.
all the notes for the rules in there.
Hides them in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Just pulls out a whole
Swordmasters.
like textbook worth of rules. It's
Did
like,
not get their value. Yeah, nothing. I don't think a single thing on the high elf roster got its value back apart from like one of the. No, not even
Yeah.
them. Yeah, nothing.
I don't
No
think
value.
The warlines did. So
Let's look at that minor value again, though.
Yeah, they all paid for themselves. Literally all of, apart from this
Yeah.
one that was 5 short. Wasn't
Yeah,
insane
it's-
value, but they all paid for themselves, which is just enough to say, isn't it?
Yeah.
nope, one did not. The first one did
Well,
not.
yeah,
I
by
think.
5, yeah. But it makes up for it. For the other one did over by 150, so it makes up for it.
And that's just with like one volley, so.
I'm gonna just edit the audio in game because I have a feeling it's a little quiet.
Oh, let me check it again.
I'll have to watch back the video and see how it is on that. And then I can adjust accordingly from things. I think we have one more replay. I think
Yes.
somewhere. Do we? Maybe we don't actually.
Also, before everybody jumps out, before we stop, thanks for Necrotic and everybody else who donated replays for this because we were really busy and couldn't do
You're
the
welcome.
replays ourselves.
I did too.
Yes, and you actually saw Willow play for the first time. You saw how we counter-picked poor Necrotic the whole time.
Poor,
Yeah.
poor necrotic.
So like, This is how Willow wins his game, by absolutely hard counter picking his.
Exactly. That's how you win.
Remember that time you never played greenskins and then said you're a greenskin main the second you got broken?
I mean, he also said he plays Coast regularly, and this was the first time I've seen him play Coast.
I played Coast
in, I think, a year.
Oh no,
1 year ago.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I don't remember that. Why is he? He just hops in to say that.
Yeah,
Dear
hops
me.
down just to say that.
You remember it, and I remember.
I don't remember it. I don't remember it all. Anyway, since we're out of replays, I think next session we'll do some live games, and we'll just end it here for now. I think.
Okay. Or more replays.
I guess next session we have time to get.
Or more
but
replays.
anyway.
Yeah, we have some more. Yeah, so whatever. But so
If
yeah,
you've got
next week.
replays, send them to me.
Yeah, send them to be processed. Psycho the processor. It's alliteration, even though it doesn't sound like it. It's a weirdly pronounced P, but still
Yeah,
is. All right.
Send them to PP.
Stopping the recording now. Thank you all for watching. Goodbye.
Yes.
Okay, guys. See ya.
Bye.